All right, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this series of online lessons. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and leave a like for this lesson. Now, in today's lesson, we're going to learn about simultaneous equations. So, previously, we have learned how to solve an equation. So, for instance, you're given an equation 2 plus 5x equals to negative 3x plus 4 open brackets x plus 1. For instance, you're given such an equation. So we previously learned how to solve this one. So first of all, you look for the brackets. That's the first part that you deal with. So for the brackets, so we'll write this as 2 plus 5x equal to, so this would be negative 3x. Then here we'll start distributing this to that. So this would be positive 4x, and 4 times this, it will be positive 4x, then 4 times that, that will be positive 4. And from here, you have to group the like terms. So all the x's will come this side of the equation. So here we already have a 5x on this side, so we have a 5x. When this comes this side, since it is negative, it will be positive 3x. So this also, when it comes this side, it will be negative since it's positive, so it will be negative 4x equal to, so here we have already a number 4. So then when this 2 comes this side, it will be negative 2. So after grouping the like terms like that, so you add the coefficients. So this is the same thing as, so since this is positive, that's positive 5. This is positive as well, so that will be positive 3. And this is negative, that is negative 4. So when you simplify this, you see that 5 plus 3, that is 8. So 8 minus 4, that will give you 4. So meaning that when you add 5 plus 3 minus 4, you're getting positive 4. And since they all have x, so you put an x here, equal to, here you subtract 4 and 2. So you subtract 4 and 2, that will give you 2. Okay, then from here you make x subject. We want x to be alone here, so we divide both sides by 4. So we say over 4 here, and there we say over 4, so that we can cancel this and that. So x would be equal to, when we simplify this, that would be 4 into 2, that is 0 point, we put a 0 there. 4 into 20, that is 5. So that is the answer for x. So we learned pretty much how to solve an equation in this format. Okay, now if you notice, an equation in this format only has one variable, that is x. You're only solving for the value of x. Okay, so you're only solving for the value of x. But in simultaneous equations, two things that you need to note. Number one, there are two equations. So there is this equation and there is that equation. Okay, and simultaneous means that you have to solve them at the same time. Then number two, what you need to note is that we have two variables. We have x and y. Okay, we have two variables that we need to find the values of. Okay, so here we have x, we have y. Here we also have x, we have y. So we have two variables, x and y, that we need to find the values of. So now, how do we solve simultaneous equations? There are many methods. The first method that we are going to learn on how we can solve simultaneous equations is known as the substitution method. Okay, so it's known as the substitution method. So we'll say by substitution method, so this is where we get the two equations that we have. We have 3x, in this case 3x plus 4y equal to 32. And we have x equals to 4y. Okay, so though this one is not a very good example, I'll give another example. But the idea in substitution method is you get any equation and you make x subject of the formula or y subject of the formula. So in this case, we can get either equation 1, if we choose to make x subject of a formula, then we replace that x in equation 2. Okay, so that is the idea. Okay, so by substitution method, I will just use these equations above here. So we can get this equation here, or we can get this one. We make either x subject of a formula or y subject of a formula. So the good part is for this one, they have already made x subject of a formula for us. So we can just get x equals to 4y. Then we are going to substitute in the other equation on top here, which is we are substituting in this 3x plus 4y equals to 32. So where there is x in this equation, we're going to substitute with this because x is equals to 4y. So where there is x, we're going to substitute with that. So this equation then will become 3. Then where there is x here, we are putting 4y. So we have 4y. Okay. We close the brackets. Then plus, we have a 4y here again. So 4y equals to 32. Okay, then here we're going to simplify 3 times 4. So 3 times 4, that will give us what? That will give us 12y. So this will give us 12y. Then here we have plus. Then here we have 4y equals to 32. Then here we can solve how we know how to solve. So here we can add the 4 and the 12, which will give us 16y equals to 32. Okay, then to remain with y alone here, we need to divide throughout by 16. So we divide by 16 here and we divide by 16 there. So this and that will cancel out. Then we are going to have 32 divided by 16. So we're going to have y is equals to, so 32 divided by 16, that will give us 2. Then after we find our value of y, we can find the value of x. So we have found that y is equals to 2 here. So y is equals to 2. We found that y is equal to 2. We now need to find the value of x. So here, we will just replace back in this equation that we used to replace into that one. So we have x is equal to 4y. Okay, then we'll say x is equal to 4, but y is what? Y is 2. So we can replace 2 there. So we have 2. Then we're going to have x is equal to 4 times 2, which is 8. So these are the answers. Okay, so these are the answers. So just try to work through the problem. First of all, watch the lesson. After you watch the lesson, pause the video, try to work through the problem by yourself. Then after you get the same answer that I got, then try this one as well. So let me put another question. All right, so suppose we have that question, 3x plus y is equals to 2. 2x plus y is equal to 1. So you're asked to solve this simultaneous equation. So here we can choose any equation. Let's choose equation 1 here. So equation 1, we have 3x plus y is equal to 2. Yes, so we have that equation. So if we pick the top equation, we can make either y or x subject of a formula. So you just look, you see which one would be easier to make subject of a formula. Is it y or x? And by subject of a formula is we want it to be alone on an equation side. So for instance, if we choose to make y subject of a formula, meaning that y should be alone, so meaning that this x will go that side, so y would be equal to, so here we have a 2. When this x comes this side, it will be negative 3x. Okay, then what we do next is, where there is y, we'll replace this in this equation. You see that, right? So the first step is we got the top equation, we made y subject of a formula. If we wanted, we could have made x subject of a formula. It would still give the same answer, but we've made y subject of a formula so that it is easier, because the coefficient there is 1. So we see which one is easier for us to make subject of a formula. We can make x subject of a formula, or we can make y subject of a formula. So here we've made y subject of a formula, and we're going to replace where there is y in this equation here. Okay, so this equation here I'll write in black. So that is, we have a 2x plus, where there is y, we're going to replace with this, because y is 2 minus 3x. So open brackets, here where there is y, we're replacing with this, which is 2 minus 3x. Then there is an equal to sign there, and this is equal to 1. Okay, so from here we simplify. So we learned how to solve an equation. So this is 2x. So positive times positive, it will be positive 2. Then positive times negative, it will be negative 3x. Then here we have equal to 1. So we can now group the like terms. So this and this, we are going to have 2x minus 3x. For these two, then we can transpose the 2 this side. So this side we have a 1. When the 2 comes this side, it will be negative 2. Okay, then if it's negative 2 here, we subtract 1 and 2. Remember how we subtract. So this will give us negative 1. Then here again we subtract. It will give us 2 minus 3 will give us negative 1, so which we cannot write. Then we write the x. So now it will give us that. Then for us to remain with x alone, we divide by negative there and by negative there. So the negative and the negative cancels. Then x will be equal to, so negative into negative to be positive. So this will be positive 1. So we can just write a 1 like that. So now we've found the value of x. We can now find the value of y using this equation here. So remember, y is equals to 2 minus 3x. So y would be equal to 2 minus 3. Where there is x here, we are replacing the value of x which we found, which is 1. So y would finally be equal to 2, which is this 2. Then this times this, it will give us negative 3. So when we subtract, we find that y is negative 1. Okay, so we have found the values of x and y. So copy this as well. So what you do is, don't copy directly. Try to solve through. Okay, try to solve through the question, then compare what you get versus what I have gotten here. So that way it will be easier for you to learn. So first of all, watch the video a few times on the same part, then try to compare what I've gotten plus you going through the question without looking. So that is what you should do. Then let me give you a task. So it will be on this. So copy this one as well. So let me just give you, so there will be 2 systems of equations on this question. So let me just all right, so you're just going to solve these 2 questions. So these 2 questions, so you're solving the first one, which is this simultaneous equation here, and after you solve this one, solve this simultaneous equation right here. So we're going to use the same substitution method that we've learned. I'll be waiting for your submission in my. So have a good evening. I'll be around to chat with you for anything.